AYA. Ask Yoda anything. I
This
don't.
will be the Yoda and Duffel hour.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys take advantage of this, but I damn sure I'm going to take advantage of Mr. Yoda while I have him for this good hour or so. Um, but first off, always like to see how Yoda's doing. How you doing today, Yoda?
No complaints, man. Shit is well over here. Just trying to elevate, stay away from the weirdos out there, and not get caught up in their weirdo shit.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, man. Sounds like my week. Sounds like my day. Um, Pretty much the same. Trying to stay focused. Not trying, actually staying focused.
Staying focused. There we go.
Yeah, staying focused, staying disciplined, staying consistent. Uh, I've been working a little bit extra these past couple. Maybe I'll say this month. Uh, been putting in some work, so I am a little bit fatigued as of late, but I'm battling through it.
As one is supposed to. That's where the strength comes from. Pushing when you don't feel like it, instead of doing what everyone else does, giving up, laying down,
Yeah,
taking a mental health day.
we know what we call those people behind closed doors.
I don't know how closed them doors are, because I be out here calling people bitches all day, every day.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah. So, like I said, this week has been a little taxing, but we are not bitches. We fight through it, ladies and gentlemen. We get
One
to
thousand percent.
1000%. But on my off time and spare time, which is very little, and when I do get a little spare time, I like to read and work out. And but I don't work out on my spare time, but I work out. That's part of my regimen. But as far as spare time, I do scroll from time to time. Yoda, I'm human, man. I
I
am human.
understand, man. I've been caught up in it myself a couple times, and I never like what I find. I always regret it.
Always, man. But then again, what would we have to talk about? Well, we would have a million things to talk about, but what would we what would people find interest in if we wouldn't talk about their stupidity from time to time? So, with that being said, I mean, we got to bring it up, right? It has
I
to
mean, we got
be.
no choice. We observed it. We need to offer a different perspective on it. That's what we do here.
Yeah, that's what we do. And as I like to say, as like we like to say, is there is a thin line between crossing the line and reading between the lines.
Mm,
So we,
bars.
from time to time, I got them. Bang! Oh, we got the
Delayed
guns.
gunshot. We got it back.
Got the gunshots back. I'm back in the Matrix. Yoda's back in the mountains of the Himalayas, uh, doing what he does, levitating. And
Floating up here.
yep. The light is shining. He is the enlightened one. But from time to time, the enlightened one, he likes to come down from his mountain and judge you peasants, you poors.
See, that's how I keep the enlightenment going, because I'm a big believer that knowing what you shouldn't be doing is every bit as important as knowing what it is that you should be doing. That's how you stay on the right path.
That's a bar right there, homie. You know, give yourself a gunshot. But last week we touched a little bit on trigger words and shit like that, and people getting their panties up in a bunch as they usually do over words, polarizing words,
Words. To
over
be
words.
clear, though, what we are talking about is someone sounding out letters in an order that you don't like, and this hurts you. This is detrimental to your life.
Yeah,
Just keep that in mind next time a word gets you so worked up that that's what's happening.
you make it sound so fucking minimal.
That's
It's
what it
minute.
is.
It is.
Sometimes you got to break things down to the base, and at the base level, that's what's happening. Someone ordered letters in an order that you don't care for and sounded it out, and now you're traumatized.
Did you people hear that? That's how he just That's how stupid you must. How stupid must you be? Look how Jason broke that shit down. How simple that is. A series of words that are meant to have or invoke an emotion, and it actually does. And you do exactly what people want you to do. How
Every
foolish!
single time.
But you know what,
And then
Jay?
defend your right to do it.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's different. Yeah. And defend your right to do it. Damn, that's even crazy. Didn't think about that angle, Jay. But as I often do, Yoda, my mind starts to get working. And I start to look at these things from a different spectrum, a different lens, a different angle.
Different lens.
Yeah, like okay, trigger words. Okay, that's pretty base level. I think even as the most simpler thinker can dissect what we're trying to say, right? So
One would hope.
I'll get a little deeper, and I got, and this episode I'm going to be throwing some questions. I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions, and of course I do know the answer to them, but
everyone doesn't.
right, everyone doesn't, and there's only one way to break it down, and that is the Yoda way. There's only one way. That is the Yoda way, the all I sing, the motherfucking enlightened one. He will break down my questions in a way that no one else can, and I dare to challenge anyone to try. But
Anybody.
anybody. So speaking on trigger words, I wonder, Jay. I know that was last week's episode. I just want to throw something out there. Maybe you can deduce a great answer, and I know you can. Um, yeah, last week we touched on certain hand-picked phrases and words. At least we think they've been selected and polarized by the powers that may be. You may think different, but that's what we think. And I just came to one of my patented epiphanies, Jay.
Okay. It's a great way to start the show out.
Right. I'd like you to dissect this, as you so meticulously tend to do. Some of these words, right? There's some words that I would think would be more powerful or thought provoking or triggering or able to induce outrage. These words that I'm thinking about, they really don't hit the same. They don't hit the same as the more popular ones, right, Jay?
I already like where this is heading here. So,
yeah, like I would think words like obesity and illiteracy, poverty, child pornography, pedophilia, heart disease, pervert cancer. Oh, I could go on, Jay. I could go on. These certain these,
pervert cancer is fucking hilarious.
I mean, and not in that order, Jay, but not in that order, but just whatever comes to mind. These are words that kind of, when I hear them, I'm like, oh. These words, though, they don't have the same ring as police brutality or nigger, especially to people who look like us and to people who are consumed in poverty. Why do those words hit harder than the words I just mentioned, Jay? I don't get it. Maybe you could break it down in a way that only the great enlightened Yoda could do.
Okay, so this is my thought and the difference between the two, right? When you get these racial slurs and these things revolving around systemic racism, discrimination, white supremacy, they fall into a very different type of category than these other things, right? Because when you talk about obesity and you talk about heart disease and you talk about addiction, and you talk about
child pornography.
child pornography, you talk about illiteracy, you talk about things like that, right? So with the exception of the illiteracy thing, and you can probably flip the illiteracy in some capacities over to the other side because it's painted as this sort of systemic thing, right? White supremacy is preventing people from learning how to read, and this is why certain people read worse than others. This is a narrative. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these other things all come down to this narrative that has kind of been going around the past few years of it's a combination of things, and one of them has to do with the idea of personal responsibility, and that has been eroded as a whole from our culture, from our society, right? So if people are fat nowadays, it's not their fault. It's their genetics, it's the food that's pitched to them, it's their hormones, their thyroid, it's all of these things. It's the stress, it's the mental health disorders that's going on. I remember we saw a reel a while ago that blamed black women being obese on white supremacy.
That was crazy.
And
That was crazy.
fucking wild, but these are the things that people think, right? And in all of these things, including with the poverty, it has taken away the personal responsibility has been stripped away from all of these things. And on top of that, another narrative that is very heavily pushed in society is the idea that you should always be doing what feels best, and you should always be doing what it is that makes you happy. And the problem with both of these two things is happiness by definition is, or just simply by the way it works, is fleeting. And the more that you're exposed to happiness, the more you need to be happy. The more that you're exposed to pleasure, the more that you need to be pleasured to derive that same level of pleasure from something, right? If you smoke a blunt the first time, you take a hit, you get high, but after eventually you need lots and lots of weed to maintain that same level of high. And with the happiness thing, say for example, you take your wife out on a date on Saturday night, right? A horse-drawn carriage comes and picks you up. You go to a fancy restaurant, one of the kind that 2 Chainz is always talking about, fucking Fogo de Chao or something, and then you go out after for a nice moonlit walk to some fancy dessert place, and you have a lovely, amazing, beautiful evening. It's greatest night of both of your lives. And then next Saturday comes, and you do the exact same thing. It doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't hit the same. It's not the same outcome as it was the first time. And if you keep doing it, it's eventually it's just dull. It loses all of its magic and whatnot, because happiness and pleasure to some degree require novelty. So now when you take both of these two things, the idea that you should always be happy, that you should always be doing what feels good, and you take away this narrative of personal responsibility, the things like obesity start to look different to people, and they're able to justify it. The things like this child pornography stuff and the pedophilia and all of that start to look different because these people are able to remove their responsibility from it and point to the fact that they're just doing what it is that makes them feel good. They're just doing what it is that makes them happy. And no one carries any sort of blame in any of these situations, and it's all about the individual fulfillment of all kinds of things. And the only reason that these things are considered wrong is because of societal narratives. So they're not looked at the same way. They're not seen as big of an issue as someone calling you a name, because on the other side of the coin, when you have the thing with people calling you names, they cloak it in this thing of in history, the historical context of it all, what's been happening the past all of these years. Why aren't people this? Why aren't you a CEO? Why don't you own teams and all of this? And they blame it on the system from forever ago. And that does tie back to the thing of personal responsibility, because people latch onto it because it removes their personal responsibility. But that's not something that also makes them feel good, right? Because the obesity makes people feel good. They enjoy eating the food. They enjoy sitting around doing nothing. The weird pornography, the weird addictions and all of that stuff make people feel good because it's pleasurable. But on the other end, this thing that took away the personal responsibility does not make them feel good. It doesn't bring them to pleasure and happiness, but they get to blame that on somebody else. They get to point the finger in the other direction. They get to point all of their issues and place all of their blame on the powers that be, on the colonizers, on the masters, on the white supremacists, on the Europeans, on whatever they would like to be, the Zionists, whoever is the scapegoat of the moment. They get to blame all of those things on. So they put all of the stock into these words and these concepts. And I think at the end of the day, everyone knows good and goddamn well, like, these things are never going to go away.
Hmm.
The more that you talk about them, the longer that they're going to be around. But people don't need them to go away. They need the scapegoat there. They need the blame so that you could sit in your house in the middle of the fucking hood after just coming back from one of your missions to shoot some shit up because you was spinning the block because of whatever, because white supremacy made you do it and all of that. And you were doing it for the culture, and you could feel good about yourself because it wasn't your choice, because it's these other people who use these names and view you as less than, who are making you do these things. They're making your life bad. They're making you poor. They're making you violent. They're making you experience all of this other dumb shit.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of some. I just thought of some. Right? Could it be? And like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to be throwing stuff at you as I think of them. Dude, what do you think about this idea that I just thought of? Because I heard what you were saying, and it kind of evoked this thought. When you hear words like child pornography and child abuse and things of this nature, right? And people don't. They might voice online some outrage or whatever. Hey, this is disgusting. But what do you think about the fact that if someone calls you a name, you probably directly think you could do something about it? On the other hand, when you see child pornography online or somewhere else, and you don't think you can affect that the same way. You understand what I'm saying? They're like, I can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to be that mad about it. How can I affect child pornography if I don't know any child pornographers? Uh, you understand what I'm saying? So when is that part of people's psyche where it's like, oh well, listen, I can't do anything about Epstein Island. I can't do anything about the CIA or the FBI assassinating Malcolm X. But guess what? This motherfucker just called me a nigger, and I'm going to evoke some outrage right now because I can do something about this in real time. Well, some people can do something. Some people can do something about it in real time. Most people will just pull out their phone and post it and act like they're fucking outraged or whatever. But what do you think about that thought of the thought of, well, I probably can in real time could do something about someone calling me a name, a triggering name.
So I think it's a combination. So I think people are split up into different camps and different groups, right? Because we've talked about this a couple times, but a lot of this outrage, a lot of this activism is strictly performative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the amount of people who actually care about these issues, like truly care, are much, much smaller than the ones who just pretend that they care.
Agreed.
And the ones who pretend that they care will see somebody say, they'll see this white lady call this little boy a nigger in the park, and then they'll tweet about it, they'll Instagram about it, they'll post all of these stories about it because it's very, very low stakes. It is discord that's allowed to happen in the public domain with very little pushback other than some random people will be like, you're wrong. It's the same way the same people who are willing to boycott Target, right? It's a very low stakes action to make you feel like you're doing something. I'm not going to go to the store and I'm going to tweet about it. Ooh. But these other things, right? These are things that have legitimate repercussions when you speak about. Take a look at Jeffrey Epstein. He was involved in it and got murdered from it, right? When you see certain other names, big names, speak about topics that they're not allowed to speak on, you see what happens to them. They get arrested, they get deplatformed, they get all of these charges and allegations thrown at them, or they just get murdered. All kinds of shit just happens to them, right? But that's what happens when you actually step into the arena, as we say sometimes, to do something that is of actual relevance. But people don't want to do the thing that's actually of relevance because it involves some degree, if not sacrifice, some degree of risk. And you see, again, people aren't really willing to make this sacrifice. People were only willing to not go to Target for 2 weeks. And then everyone's right back at Target. Everyone's right back to Amazon. Everyone's right back to Walmart, Starbucks, all of these other things they were boycotting, right? And that's the lowest stakes thing that it could possibly be. But all of these other things, and also you have to think, right? I could get on X or Threads or Instagram and I could say nigger all day, but I can't say pedophile.
That's crazy.
I can't write pedophile.
That's crazy.
Because they go take, that's why people got all these weird little abbreviations for it. You can't speak about these real things. You can't speak about someone being sexually assaulted. That's why they have their stupid little essay thing. You can't speak about people killing themselves. This is why they have all of these workaround words, because they will flag your shit if you talk about certain things, right? And they do it under the guise of, we're protecting people who have been traumatized and don't want to hear these words because they're triggering. But I don't believe that to be the case at all, because if that's really what it was, there are people who claim to be traumatized and triggered by these other words too. Why are we allowed to say them? Why are we allowed to talk about that, right? And on some level, if you got 1984, have you started reading it yet?
I haven't started. Because I got when I went to the bookstore, I bought like 15 books. So it's in there. Yeah, it's in there.
One of the things that they talk about in there, they have this, it's a dystopian society. They have this thing, it's called Newspeak, right? And they get rid of certain words from the language. And the reason for doing that is to get people to not rebel, not to go against certain things by taking away their ability to speak about it. Because if you don't speak about it, you don't think about it, and you won't act on it. And that's what a lot of these things seem like to me. Again, a lot of these topics are taboo to discuss online. They say it's for the good of the survivors and all of that, but I believe it seems to me like it's more so for the good of the perpetrators.
I agree, man. Totally. And with that being said, I want to give a special shout out. We don't do too many shout outs or anything like that. I sent you a clip of Tim Tebow speaking on this, man, and I want to personally give him a shout out for even, he's not a huge public figure, but he is a public figure, and he spoke passionately about this. Yeah, man.
Love to Tim Tebow, because that was some real shit there.
It was crazy. Yeah. So to add a little context, I sent Jay a clip of Tim Tebow being interviewed, and he presented a clip, he presented a printout of IP addresses that were used to download and share child pornography in the last 30 days in the U.S. I think it was the U.S. I don't know if it was just one area or the whole U.S., but
it was the whole country.
It was the whole country in the last 30 days. It was
not only child, but children under 12.
So yeah, I was gonna put that in there. Under 12, which is, it's just
disgusting.
Yeah, man. I found that to be extremely triggering to me personally at least. So yeah, a big shout out to Tim Tebow for shedding some light on it. And just to kind of, I guess, while I'm talking, throw another question as you are we more concerned with other polarizing topics than something like this? Because I don't want to say this. Yeah, well, most things are distractions, and everything you see on media and TV, well, whatever the case may be, you have to read between the lines, because it's been tampered with and edited and produced, right? So you always got to look at these things with a squinted eye, just to make sure you're seeing what you're supposed to be seeing, right? So are we kind of like distracted from other things? And I'll get into the other things after this, but to me it seems like something like this Tim Tebow, what he presented, was troubling to me. Troubling. We got to do, it seems like we should be doing something about it, put it like that. And that's why I said shout out to him, because he seems to be doing something about it, not just actually tweeting about it. He's actually out there doing something about it.
And also for the record, for people who seem, because we've said before about how people, you know, running around on Twitter and whatnot using their voice doesn't mean anything, and people seem to get this misconstrued. And
Yeah,
currently, yes, we're praising Tim Tebow for using his voice, but the difference is Tim Tebow has a voice. If
that's the
he
difference.
has a legitimate platform where he can actually stand up and say something and it matters that he stood up and said the thing.
Right.
So the idea as a whole behind that other thing is not that speaking up about stuff doesn't matter, but speaking up about stuff only matters if you matter. And I know that everyone wants to sit their little feel good shit. Everyone matters. No, the fuck you don't. That's nonsensical. But anyway, yes, absolutely. Shout out to him, because not only is this it's the right thing to do, it's also a brave thing to do, because it
Hmm.
doesn't for some reason seem to be the acceptable thing to do. And I
Hmm.
think that of all of the stuff that we see currently, so there's what's some kid's name, Carmelo Anthony, and fucking
Oh, yeah, the one, the kid that was
who
killed.
stabbed the
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the kid who got
Yeah.
stabbed and omitted intentionally omit his name. I just can't
Well,
think of it right now.
isn't that a problem?
Can't think of his name.
Right. I mean, we know the other kid name, but we don't, like, that is interesting. And I don't know the kid's name either.
So this thing took place. They have the girl in the park, or the woman in the park, and it's like, of all of the thing, this is what's dominating the discourse now. What's dominating the discourse is Trump's little tariff thing, the back and forth. That's going to be what it is. All of you people talking about this, you don't understand this shit. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
All of the people sitting here talking about this woman calling this kid a name, shut the fuck up. This is not a thing. Y'all sitting here talking about this other dude who murdered this kid. Yeah, that's tragic, but you don't know anything about that. Shut the fuck up. This thing that Tim Tebow is talking about here should be what's dominating the headlines. This should be what it is that
Hmm.
people are focused on. This should be what it is that people are outraged about. You want to sit there talking about some woman got a GoFundMe or whatnot. Why are you not having all of this little discourse about what it is that you to do to stop these people from posting, downloading, sending, trading this shit online? And further than that, what are you wanting to do to stop people from being able to make it to begin with? Where's the discourse about this? You're sitting here talking about how to make Elon Musk go broke and how to put Target out
Huh.
of business. This is nonsense. These are not real things. This is petty, jealous bullshit. These are the protecting, again, we have talked about this before, but the preservation and protecting of innocence is what should be everyone's number one
Yes.
goal and should be everyone's number one focus, period. Like that's what's important. We're supposed to make the world a better place for the generations after us, for the world as a whole, for nature, for the fucking animals, for the ocean, for everybody, is a better place. And this is actively making the world a better place, because not only are they going around doing all of this fucked up shit, right? But every single person that's in this material that's a victim of this, right, is also having their life altered in a fucked up way, right? I know we talk all the time about how trauma and bad things happening to you is good because you can make the most of it, but that doesn't mean you should support people
Right.
being actively traumatized in this. You still want to prevent it. Yes, bad things are going to happen and you make the most of them when they do, but that doesn't mean that you should allow or be complicit in the spreading and doing of misdeeds,
Especially the children.
especially to children. Again, preservation of innocence.
Yeah, because if you think about it, this war being fought, because it is a war. There's a lot of wars being fought, and this is one of them. Um, a child's front line or army or the platoon. We are on the front lines. We are the only protectors, right? We are looked at as the protectors. When I mean we, I mean people of age older than that, not considered a child. We are supposed to be the protectors of them, and if they're not being protected, that means we are failing at the war. We're losing the war. That's what that means. And to get add a little bit more context to the Tim Tebow clip, because you will have gray area thinkers with this, and they would say, well, just because they downloaded and shared it doesn't mean um, that's not a crime, right? So Tim Tebow proceeded to.
Well, first, before I do think that is actually a
Yeah,
crime.
yeah, yeah, it is, but you don't see people. If that was a crime, the jails would be overflowed with. It is a crime, but if it was actively pursued, the jails would be overflowed with fucking pedophiles.
Hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, if think about it, I mean,
Interesting.
yeah, if these people were actually prosecuted, there'll be no fucking room in jail.
Huh.
So yeah, it might be a crime, but hey, threatening someone online is a crime. So
That's a fact. That's a solid point.
yeah, so but what I was about to say about the gray, there are gray area thinkers and try to put this. Oh, it's not that serious. It just download or looking at it. Well, Tim Tebow proceeded to say that I think the percentage was either 58 or around 58 to 78, 70 some percent around that area. Uh, I got to go back to the clip, and if you could present the clip after this spill.
Yeah, we'll link to it in the video.
Right. He went on to say that close to 70% of those people who were downloading and sharing, they are actually offenders. They were actually caught
Mm.
before, and a lot of them. Oh, and he was like 50, I think 58% of those offenders been caught over 12 times. So it's not just someone sharing and downloading and hey, I just find this interest. No, it's actual people who are hurting children, actual in real time. So like I said, we are losing that war because
Well,
it's not being fought.
Well, hold up. See, not only this because of the just to address the gray area people here too. Because at the end of the day, right? If you're partaking in something, then you are also fueling its continued production. So even if you're not doing something yourself, the fact that you go to the movie theater and buy tickets is why more of those movies get made. If you go watch Transformers, a whole bunch of you do it, they're going to make more Transformers movies. So everyone who went and saw a Transformers movie is complicit. And this is actually, I'm talking about actual Transformers, the fucking robots. But anyone who went and saw a Transformers movie,
Yeah, you know where I was gonna go with that, but get with that.
any,
Yeah.
anyone who bought tickets to and watched a Transformers movie is complicit in the making of more Transformers movies. This applies to all of the things. So it's not, oh, they just watched it. Oh, they just downloaded it. Oh, they just shared it. They're a part of the chain of events that's happening that's allowing these things to continue to be made, period.
Agreed. And for context, for the people who didn't get our inside joke, but the Transformers, it's just crazy that Jay would say Transformers because no,
As the first movie that popped in my head, because I know people like have this issue with the Transformers movies and how they're all just loud and dumb.
they are, but the name Transformers is just funny. I actually sent you I sent you a clip of the cartoon Transformers addressing trans what I don't
This was a great segue or tie-in. I didn't even mean to do intentionally because what we were also saying, what you were saying before about the war being fought currently, as a whole, the war is being fought for the minds of children, the minds of the future generation,
agreed.
right? Which is one of the reasons that we speak against certain things because people are telling your children all kinds of things that they should not be hearing or that is not best for them to learn, right? And they need a counterbalance, they need a counter voice. And when you say that certain things are not being pushed on children, and then you look at the Transformers cartoon show and you see this blue robot talking about I'm a they them because her doesn't seem to describe me appropriately, and fucking Optimus Prime being like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Like, what the fuck are
What
you
are we
sitting here
doing, dog?
talking about? I saw another cartoon similar to that with some little baby fucking farm animals talking about it was a they them because hers. Like, what are we fucking talking about here? If you are not sitting here trying to indoctrinate the minds of children with this shit, why are children's cartoons participating in this weird ass ideology so the little kid can watch and be like, Mom, what's a they them?
Yo, I don't even know. Like, I was a big proponent of cartoons, especially when I was a young. We had little boys had GI Joe and Optimus Prime was a fucking man. He was roll out Transformers, and you looked up to
The
these
fucking fire truck.
right. What little boy didn't like a fire truck, right? Like these are little boys should be. And Optimus Prime was the. Come on, how did you sissify Optimus Prime, dog? How did you
All the
find a way?
shit. See, they used to have good messages, powerful messages in the
Yes.
cartoon. Fucking Captain Planet telling you to stay sober
Right.
and whatnot. Like,
What happened? Where
but
are we?
yeah, now you got these motherfuckers sitting here telling you to fucking change your pronouns, and it's weird.
Yo.
It's weird.
Even in the clip I sent you, Optimus Prime, he looked like he had makeup on. He looked soft. He didn't look.
Oh, he looked like a bitch.
He looked like it's not Optimus Prime, dog. Optimus Prime's a big brute. He was a brute.
The hard lines on the
Yes.
face, like, come on, man. He was a car person who looked war torn. Now he looked like he done just got done with his skincare
What
routine.
are
Not
we?
saying there's anything wrong with having a skincare routine, but the way that this
Right.
motherfucker looked, though, you sitting
No.
there, he looking all powdered up and camera ready, like he about to
Yes.
pose for some questionable photos.
Yes, the lines were softened on the animation, definitely, and he's definitely a softer look to Optimus Prime, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, so I said it to Jay, and that was the behind the scenes little joke we just had. Transformers, and it's crazy they would pick a cartoon like that with the name
Called the
Transformers.
Transformers.
We ain't making this shit up, man. I mean, you can't make it up because the people that think is fuck you're joking, but it actually happened, right?
Real things. This is real stuff taking place.
It's real shit taking place, man. And one more thing, man. Not one more thing, but these things just popping in my brain, Jay. And while I got you here, I might as well just fucking
Let's do it.
bombard you with my thinking. I know the Diddy case has been going on lately. Well, not going, it's just started or whatever case. And I don't know too much about it. And I have my thoughts. The things I'm noticing online in the discourse, and the one thing I noticed about the discourse online about the Diddy case, and not just to harp on the Diddy case, even the rap battles, racially fueled GoFundMe accounts, whatever, et cetera, right? One thing I noticed, Jay, is that there's an incredible amount of people dedicating an insurmountable amount of time on even the minute details of these matters. And that causes me to think not about what not about what's mindlessly being debated. I think to myself, Yoda, and I'll ask you: Do these people have too much time on their hands? Is this? Yeah, because it's getting frustrating, and I know I'm on the outside looking in, and I can say you can also say, well, you're watching too. You got to, and yeah, it has affected me also. So, do we have too much time on our hands that we are so involved with the minute little intricacies of Diddy's case and this and that? And do we have too much time on our hands? Do we need to be doing something else?
So I want to start with the last part that you said there about you're watching it too. And people have this thing where they seem to they look to other people, to what it is that they're doing, and use it to to justify their own actions, right? Like if you tell someone they shouldn't be smoking weed, they'll say, well, Elon Musk smokes weed and he's very successful. Wiz Khalifa smokes weed and he's very successful. Sure, but are you Wiz Khalifa or are you some poor ass motherfucker on the internet?
Fair enough.
Who are you? Because if you are Wiz Khalifa, then pay me no mind.
Fair enough.
Smoke all the fuck it is that you would like. If you are Elon Musk, pay me no mind. Smoke all it is that you would like. If I say the same thing about video games, right? If you're fucking Snoop Dogg or Currency or Game or something, pay me no mind. Play all the video games that you like.
Fair
but
enough.
Are you poor? Are you fat? Are you where you want to be in life? If so, shut the fuck up. Their rules don't apply to you. Yes, we see these things, but we are not failing at life. We are not losers sitting at home on the computer being broke and fat and wishing we were somewhere else. And also, the things that we see are relevant to this thing that we do. It is a difference in there. So at some point, you have to sit there and take a look out and understand, where are you in life? Yes, lots of successful people spend their time playing video games, but they're also successful. If you're not, what are you doing?
You stole my rebuttal, but go ahead. Yeah, that was going to be my rebuttal, like because look, I could spend my time online, motherfucker. Like Hey, man.
I can scroll. I'm good.
Yeah, and also, like you said, we're actually using it to be productive at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. This is a part of this. This is research. This goes into it. But for the most part, yes, people have absolutely too much time on their hands. And this is what we talked about a few episodes ago with the fucking gorilla thing. It is the same people who will sit there and complain about they can't pay their bills, they're not in shape, the rich people are hoarding all of the money and all of this stuff, and they don't know what to do to get better, who will always say, who know all of the latest breaks in Diddy's case, and they know everything that Kanye has tweeted out, and they know all of the things. They know everything that's going on with the world, but they don't know how they're going to pay their bills.
Hmm. And that, I'll touch a little. I'll keep going because I like where we at, right? And you answered my question beautifully. You did steal my rebuttal, but you didn't know it. You are
My
Yoda.
fault.
You didn't know. No, you're Yoda. You're supposed to. You fucking took it from my brain and spewed it back out. But it was perfect. It was perfect because, like I said, I do ask these questions, but generally I do know the answer to them, and I kind of know what Yoda's gonna say. I just don't know how he's going to say it, which is entertaining to me because not only am I here to entertain you, but I'm fucking entertained. I want to hear the motherfucker speak like this. So that's what that's why I always ask you questions, Yoda. I know I might be using you, but what
Such
good
is
are you?
life.
What good of you if you can't be useful to your friends? That what good are you, right? So another question is like, okay, let's take the Diddy case, right? It's like, are people even asking or investigating the correct theories, right? Um, and some people are, and even if so, Yoda, even if you did crack the case, let's say said person has an aha moment and realizes that Diddy's case is probably part of a bigger set of circumstances we're not privy to. I'd say an extreme flex in power to neatly sum it up, Yoda. Even though, what then, Yoda? What then? What are we supposed to do with this realization, right? Okay, the powers that be may be flexing their metaphorical muscles. Okay, what do we do? Okay, spend all your time pondering, examining this for what? Okay. Um, wait,
To what
to
end?
what end? Like that's what I'm getting to. So you're not you ain't ready, you're not ready or equipped to do anything about it. um Last episode we explained or we touched on our value, our only value to the US is consumption and votes and the popular celebrity who looks like you that will influence you to consume shit you don't need. That's what
Mm.
we have to offer. The only power each one of you have right now is to become the greatest version of yourself. Um, and right now, you're being distracted by shit you're not prepared to do anything about. So you're not becoming the greatest version of yourself. So, Yoda, even if you crack the code on the conspiracy, but you're still out of shape and poor, what the fuck is the point? What is the point? If you Yoda, if okay, Diddy did this baby oil and fucking Cassie and she's pregnant and she's on stairs and oh I think because the Jews did this and that and you crack the code, but you're still poor. What difference does it make? Is what I'm trying to. I need you to. I need you to explain to these people what are they doing?
So I often wonder this same thing. I see people sit online, I see people in public in real life go back and forth debating, let's say, gun control.
Right.
Person A has the argument for it, person B has the argument against it, and they have this heated argument back and forth, right? Let's say person A wins and person B concedes and says, yes, we need stricter gun control. Amazing. But
Now
now
what?
what? Two nobodies agree on something. Whoop-de-fucking-do. The world does not change. Guns are not going to be harder to get. They're not going to come and confiscate people's guns. Nothing changes. The same thing applies to all of these things. You could sit online, you could sit with your circle of friends, smoke your weed, and have your debates about what Diddy did, why they're doing what they did to Diddy, who did what. This is white supremacy and Zionism, and he ran afoul of some big person, and you cracked the whole entire thing. You figured it all out because you are super internet sleuth man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. You can do this with anything that you would like.
Anything.
Maybe you figured out that the election was stolen.
Yep.
Maybe you figured out exactly how COVID was a scam. But the fact of the matter is, if you were not anybody, what you have discovered does not matter. Period. Unless you are going to dedicate yourself to becoming the best version of you and the most known person that you could possibly be, none of your research means anything. There are certain people on both sides of the aisle some people who say things I agree with, like Candace Owens, some people who say things that I don't agree with, like the guy
What's his
that
name?
was on the podcast, huh?
Yeah, I know you. Is it the Indian looking cat? What is his name? Fresh and Fit. Is it the Fresh and Fit?
Him too. We could go with him. We could go with the Mark Lamont Hill guy.
Mark Lamont
They
Hill,
all
yep.
have their opinions and ideas about things that happen, right? But the reason that people talk about it when they say things is because they matter. So when they come up with something, when they come to a conclusion, when they say a thing, it moves the needle in some way.
Yep.
So again, the things that you say, the things that you think, the things that you discover only matter if you matter. Period. If you are a nobody, it doesn't matter what government secrets you uncover. You could have found documentation and proof of all kinds of things, but if you aren't somebody, it doesn't mean a fucking thing. So the only way, we have talked about this before, the only thing that anyone could possibly do to affect the world, to make the world a better place, to get the justice that you feel should be gotten, is to become the best version of yourself and work yourself into a position where you are somebody who matters. So this is why you need to focus on you. And if you are not focused on you, you have no business focusing on anybody the fuck else, because it is a complete and utter waste of your time and everyone else's time in general. It does not matter. There are certain, you see Alex Jones, you see Russell Brand, you see Conor McGregor, you see Andrew Tate, all of them got kicked off of various platforms for saying things. They're not the first people who said these things. They're just people who matter who said these things. That's why they lost their platform and other people don't or didn't, whatever the case may be. I'll even sit here and say this is not some sort of hypocritical thing, because if we were larger, there is a chance we would get canceled too, but we're not big enough currently for it to fucking matter either. And if we're not, and you're listening to us, then you damn sure the fuck are not. So work on yourself. That's the only answer.
That's the only answer.
Period.
And it's crazy because we touched on this, like you said, we always touch on these things, right? And I'll make it a confession. Yeah, I do think about these things, and I like to think that I'm aloof and I just come up with these things and pop. But I asked you certain questions because I know your response and how it should affect people if they're listening. So I asked you certain questions because I know that the answers will affect people whoever's listening. So I asked you certain questions because I know what you're going to say. And we touched on this a couple episodes back. I mean, all these episodes we drop jewels, but I like to pay attention sometimes to the discourse or the comments sometimes. And going to what you just said, I said a couple episodes, I say, listen, man, just if you focus on yourself and you become the greatest version of yourself, each person did that, then possibly things will change. And there was still gray area comments. Well, that's selfish and you should, I'm like, I don't, I get upset, and this is why you're the best person for the job, because it's frustrating. So I'm like, yo, there's nothing you could do about these things that you're concerning yourself with, whether it be issues that stem from 1,000 years ago that you're still talking about or still think think that shit affects you? You still think these things are holding you back? Things that happened 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, or 10 years ago, you still think those things are holding you back now? And when I said, well, listen, if everyone just concentrated on being the best version of oneself, then we all can make a change. We all can make a change. You cannot change shit if you are one out of shape, hormones all over the fucking place, weak titties. If you're a man, your titties are sagging, and you ain't changing shit. And first of all, it's not only physical, it's mental too. If you're mentally weak and you have no discipline or consistency, what the fuck you think you're gonna change? How can you change anything if you can't change yourself? You got motherfuckers that want the world to change, but they can't change their diet.
Mm.
I don't. Come on, Jay. Like what? Like now, I get a little frustrated. Like what are we doing? What are we saying? And then people will have under the comments, "Oh yeah, but, yo, bro, cut it the fuck out. Cut it the fuck out, man. Go. You want to change something? You have to change yourself. Because if you're shit, if you're a piece of shit, or you're mentally weak, physically weak, spiritually weak, you ain't changing a damn thing. And nothing you say matters. Nothing.
Not even a little bit. But hold up. Not only this, though. Anything other than you or everyone striving to be the best version of themselves makes every other change possible a completely fruitless endeavor. If you are a person who is poor, if you are a poor person and the fucking wizard comes down and gives you $1 million and you have not taken the time to work on yourself, you are going to be a poor person who once had $1 million. If you are a fat person and a wizard comes down and give you abs and you have not taken the time to work on yourself, you are going to be a fat person who briefly had abs. If you are lonely and a wizard comes down and gives you the girl of your dreams, you are going to be a heartbroken motherfucker who lost the girl of your dreams because you did not take the time to work on yourself. There is no change that could be implemented on a large scale if people are not going to work on themselves. If you gave all of the homeless people houses right the fuck now, there would just be a bunch of homeless people again in a year and a bunch more fucking abandoned houses. Because all of this shit at the end of the day, no matter what stupid ass little excuses you want to make and stories you want to tell yourself, is a result of who the fuck it is that you are and the choices that you make. Period. Poor people are poor because they do poor people things. Addicts are addicts because they do addict shit. Depressed people are depressed because they do depressed people shit. Fat people are fat because they do fat people shit. Wherever it is that you are, it is because of whatever the fuck it is that you choose to do. And if you are not going to change that, there's nothing will help you. There is nothing that could be fixed. No societal changes can come around and change anything. They could get rid of all of the racism in the world, and the only thing that would change is the people who once blamed their situation on racism would no longer have racism to fucking blame. You would still be exactly where the fuck it is that you are because you are not trying to get yourself somewhere else. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That is all that you can fucking do. Period. There are no handouts. People say no one is coming to save you. No one fucking can save you. You could be in the middle of the ocean. If someone comes and gives you a fucking life raft, if you don't know how to fucking paddle it, you're still going to die in the middle of the ocean with a life raft like a dickhead.
Facts. Yeah.
Period.
It's crazy.
Work on your fucking, that is the only solution to anything at all, period, ever.
Yeah, like what do you think we're doing here? And we talk, we're not just wasting our breath here, man. Like, all right, we speak about the universe, and right, how the universe is. This is how the universe works, man. Right? You say, oh well, how can if I work out? What does working out have to do with it? Well, what does having money have to do with anything? And what does this? How is that going to change things? How is me working on myself going to change it? First of all, like I said, if you can't change yourself, you can't change anything. Secondly, think about the universe as being connected. Everything is connected. Where if we kill off all the bees, we have no honey. If you killed everything is connected, right? So if
flowers die,
everything, right? Everything is connected, right? If you think of it, think people. So think, if I have money, I can affect someone's life, and then they can affect someone else's life. and then that person that they affect could affect someone. If someone sees me doing the right thing, they may go do the right thing, and then they could affect someone doing the right, and everybody's connected. So when you say that, oh, it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter if I go to the gym, it doesn't matter if I have money, it doesn't matter if I eat right, if it doesn't matter if I have discipline or consistency, you're wrong. You're wrong.
As fuck.
You're wrong.
Do you know how many people message me? I get online and say I don't drink. If you drink, you're a bitch. You know how many people message me and say, yo, listening to you is the reason that I stopped fucking drinking?
Right.
So me not drinking inspired other people to not drink. And them not drinking will inspire other people to not drink. I get up early as fuck every single day and I post it. And people message me, man, you inspired me to start getting up earlier. So that motherfucker gets up early. Somebody in their family, their girl, their brother, whoever it is, sees it and said, man, maybe I should get up earlier too. Because if I get up earlier, I'll have more to do during the day. All of these things create a ripple effect. And not only that, you can say that it's not about money. You can say it's not about being in shape. Okay, cool. That's fine. Let's accept this to be true. It's not, but let's accept it for a second. Regardless of that, if you are striving to be the best version of yourself and you inspire other people to do that, right? In striving to be the best version of yourself and in making everyone else strive to be the best version of yourself, that will just automatically solve a lot of these problems, because most of the problems in the world are based off of things like cruelty and greed and whatnot. And anyone who is truly striving to be the best version of themselves will not be cruel and will not be greedy. So people will just automatically stop doing these things. And even if they themselves don't want to, the more people that are opposed to these things, the more people that judge or look down on these things, the less comfortable people are going to be doing these things, because they don't want to be shunned. They don't want to be ostracized. They don't want to be outcasted from society. So you being better inspires other people to be better, which inspires other people to be better, which in and of itself solves the problem.
Which is why they don't want you to do so. Duh. Fuck, man. Come on, man. When are we gonna fucking wake up? I mean, what do you think we're doing here? We talk about religion. We talk about all these things, not because we question these things, because we have a good idea of what they're trying to do, right? And in so many words, we're trying to warn you, change you. Maybe
it is all obvious. These at the base level, if you break these things down, you will see that these are narratives and messages of self disempowerment.
Yes, they want to run around and be fat and touch kids and do things that are ungodly, and they want it to be okay, and they want you to be okay with it, right? And these are the reasons you see certain things in social media, on TV, on commercials. This is why we talk about these things. This is why, right? So never in your life think that you can affect something if you can't affect your own well-being. It's not possible, right? It's just think about it. Like I'm starting to get frustrated again. Just think about it.
What do you think that you could really accomplish if you don't have the mental fortitude to not go to the fucking drive-through?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I always think about people who find themselves or think that they're rather intelligent, and always intelligence is an inner thing, but it's also an outward thing also, because so I could look at you and tell maybe you're not as intelligent as you need to be, especially if you're overweight. I don't give a fuck how many books you've read. It's not intelligent to be overweight. It's not smart. It's the dumbest thing you could do. Kill yourself with food is something an idiot would do. I'm not saying that I've been there. I've been there. I've been unintelligent. Right. So spare me your articulation of, these things you could fucking articulate. If you are not doing your best to be in shape, I'm going to look at you like you're dumb.
Well, because you are.
You are. You're an idiot.
There is no world in which you are an intelligent person who
No,
is fat for
no.
two reasons. Either you don't understand that eating too much food is making you gain weight, which means you're stupid, or you understand that eating too much food is making you gain weight and you do it anyway,
Yeah.
which means you are stupid. It is an
Come on.
unintelligent thing to do. Period. All of these things, like people have this thing where it's what's within. No, your outside is a reflection of your
Mhm.
inside. Period. If you are fat, you are undisciplined and you are unintelligent. You have no self control. You are selfish. You are this is all
Oh,
very
bad.
fucking obvious.
All bad.
These things, this is not some sort of debatable shit.
No.
And people like to sit there and argue with it. If you're a fat person, you're not trustworthy because you betray yourself all day,
Every
every
day.
single day.
Every
You
day.
go against your best interest because you want pizza. What the fuck makes you think that you are going to have anyone else's best interest in mind when it really truly comes down to it? When you're presented with something that is actually difficult for you to do, you're going to fold like you do every single time because you can't even deal with the thoughts of thinking about food and not do it. That's absolute insanity. All of these things are tied together. All of this dumb shit that people are running around doing. If you're a fucking drug addict, it's because you're an unintelligent person.
Yeah.
Either you don't understand that you shouldn't be doing drugs, which makes you stupid, or you understand that you shouldn't be doing drugs and do it anyway because it makes you feel good briefly, which means you're stupid.
Absolutely.
All of these things are stupid.
And if you're
It is.
if you're unintelligent,
This is also why I think this is why they paint intelligence as, well, you know what happened in
ah,
1942 in Germany. So
see?
therefore no, that's not you
Yeah.
being intelligent. That's you having memorized facts. You being
Yes.
intelligent is you being able to affect your world and your reality
Mhm.
as you see it in your mind. It is you being able to bring your thoughts and take it into a reality in a
Absolutely.
positive direction. It is you being able to better your situation. That is intelligence. If you are
Absolutely.
poor and you can go figure out how to make yourself some money, you are intelligent. If you are fat and
Absolutely.
figure out how to get in shape, you are intelligent. If you are living the
Absolutely.
best life possible, you are intelligent. Maybe you've never read a history fucking book. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing because that is not what intelligence is. Intelligence is the ability to affect change in yourself and others.
Yeah.
Anything other than that is bullshit.
So with that being said, how the fuck do you think you could change anything if you're not intelligent? You just think you are. You just think you are.
You're not even smart enough to know that you're stupid.
Come on now. And you're not smart enough to invoke change.
Period.
And that's why I say these things. Listen, work on yourself first. It'll take
Period.
care of it. Everything else will take care of itself. The universe will take care of you. The universe will take care of who you affect, right? And that's a domino effect. And this is what they don't want. Now, the domino effect works the other way too, Jay. If you're a fat piece of shit and you see someone else being a fat piece of shit, maybe you'll be a fat piece of shit. If you see somebody else eating a pizza, I want that pizza, which is why you see 1,000 commercials about pizza and
Billboards
degeneracy,
everywhere.
yes, and sex and and this is why you see these things. It's a domino effect because the universe is connected. If you see positive things, and if positive things are plastered across your TV and social media time in and time out, it'll positively affect everyone. It's connected. This is religion. This is everything. This the universe. Most of you like to call them God or whatever the case may be, whatever spirituality or religion you're talking about. I am talking about the universe and how it affects everything. So don't for 1 second think you being a piece of shit is not affecting the next person being a piece of shit, and that piece of shit person affecting the next person for being a piece of shit, and his kids and their kids. It's a continual cycle that people don't realize they're in, right? And so you consume not only do you consume horrible foods and you consume horrible information for your mental, for your spirituality. They attack everything that's good for you. Everything that is good for you is demonized, and you don't know why. Now we're telling you why, because we're all connected. Period.
Period. All of the shit infects your mind. The movies, the music, the food,
Everything.
the commercials, every single thing. Exactly what you said. What you're exposed to is what you will see more of. You will go in that positive direction if you're exposed to positivity. But expose you to negativity, it's just snowball effect in that way. It goes in either direction. What's interesting to me is the same people who will sit there. We were talking about the Transformer stuff, right? And they're talking about, well, telling it to kids doesn't affect them, right? But
That's
these are the
that's
same people who
bullshit.
will say that kids shouldn't watch certain
Right.
movies or kids shouldn't listen to certain music
Right.
because you understand that these things affect them. So why would that be different? Why would that not be a similar thing? I guarantee you, with enough concerted effort, you can go and convince any 8-year-old that he's a T-Rex.
Yeah. So,
Like,
so
it's not hard.
Jay, even with that thought,
This is why they tell it to children
yes,
now.
that's what I'm getting at,
Kids are
Jay.
blank slates.
That's what I'm getting at, Jay. So, why do you think there is an attack on kids and their mentality and their physicality and their spirituality? Because we're all connected. So when these kids become grown-ups, right, and then
They pass it on to their kids.
it's come on now.
I had a thought you made me think of. I thought of this a while ago, though. But have you ever seen? There's always somebody who on TV shows or in movies who's talking about it's some younger person talking about their dad's generation and how they were out of touch and they got all of the things wrong. And then, like, if you go back a few years, that generation is talking about how the generation
Mhm.
before them got everything wrong and they've learned and grown. But it's just the gradual erosion of all
Mm.
of these values
Mhm.
and the ways of the world, right, over time. And they make it look cool for children
Mhm.
and teenagers to rebel against their parents and go against their parents' values.
Yeah.
And they make it look cool they've been doing it for forever. And this is how we've gotten so far away from where it is that we once were, where men did manly things, women did womanly things, and everything was good, and people could live peacefully in the world and go about their lives doing their things and living their simple lives with their simple jobs and being happy and what's not. And some people wanted to go accomplish big things and they could do that, and some people just wanted to live regular shit and they did that. But now no one can even do any of those things because, again, they've slowly eroded all of the values, all of the ways that the way that people were operating before. And they do it through the media and the thing, because it seems very unlikely that all of that all of the kids come to the conclusion that the generation before them got it wrong
Mm.
organically. But this is what
Mm.
they watch. They watch the Disney shows where they're sitting there talking about how their parents are out of touch and don't know any better, and it's not cool. Even
Mm.
like Fresh Prince and stuff, where parents just don't understand and everything. This has been a
Mm.
thing for forever, and kids
Mm.
slowly and surely got more and more and more and more different from their parents in all of the
You're
generations
right.
prior.
You're right. And if if someone 40 some years old doesn't understand, you're 13 talking about parents just don't understand. What the fuck don't they understand that you understand? I
Not a goddamn thing.
not well, like what are we talking about? It's like I have a 20-year-old and it's like I'm talking to someone who read a million books. She hasn't. It's like, yo, you don't. She says, I don't understand. I'm like, if anyone understands, it's fucking me. It's someone who's been on the earth for close to 45, 50 years. What doesn't that person understand unless he's a complete idiot? And we already went
Or
through
has it been through anything?
or hasn't been through anything. And we've already discussed those type of people. So we're not talking about those type of people. Like we're not talking about someone who's fucking severely overweight and doesn't treat his intellect or his spirituality. We're not talking about somebody like that. We're talking about parents just don't understand. What type of parents are you talking about? Right? You're right. You're absolutely right. And I never thought of that, Jay. You're absolutely right. How they push that agenda that we don't understand. We absolutely understand. And this is what, and we go back to this will go back to what we talked about perfection, right? And how they don't want you, or that's an unachievable goal or whatever. That's what they want, right? Because if I push this agenda that you can be, at least if you shoot for it, you'll be a phenomenal person. You will affect the next person, And then if I start to push that, or even if they push it on a large scale, let's say you're fucking greatest celebrity. Let's say somebody on Instagram that has 500 million followers. If he just flips the script and says, you know what?
The Rock.
Yeah, I didn't want to say his name, but fuck it, fuck him. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Right? Let's just say, and it's crazy that you knew exactly who the fuck I was talking about. It's fucking. That's why you're fucking Yoda, man. Come on now. Yeah, The Rock. Right? Let's say you're The Rock. You got 500 million followers on Instagram, and you just flip and say, man, listen, hold on. This is what we need to be doing. This is what you think happens to him, man? A person who could influence so many people. This is why, hold on, Jay. This is why, right? The power struggle on these social media platforms is what it is. There's a war being waged there too, because you can't give someone that much power because they might flip and say, guess what? You should try to be perfect. Right? So this is why.
Because you can be.
Right. This is why someone who has 500 million subscribers can only reach a third, or even not even a third of the people who follow them. This is why. This is why if I have close to 100,000 or 90-some thousand followers on Instagram, this is why only a couple thousand people see the post. This is why. Because it's a domino effect. We're all fucking connected. I could possibly change one of you fucking rockheads. Possibly, if you was to see it. This is why everything must be controlled. This is why these.
Oh,
yes,
1000%.
Yes,
that's why. Yeah, that's why even I can't reach all of my followers.
That's why. Now, conversely, this is why if I've said something negative, if I'm spinning a block, or I'm 300 pounds, or I'm Lizzo when she was 300 pounds, shaking my fucking stomach. This is why this will go viral. This is why stuff like that goes viral instead of the other things that positivity, right? So it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, man. You can see it clear. I mean, at least we can see it clearly.
It's very obvious.
It's obvious as shit, man. It's obvious as shit, man. I guess, Jay, man, to end it off, what give the people, give them one last belt the ass moment when it comes to being a better version of yourself, and leave look, Diddy's case and this case and this the woman, the fucking GoFundMe accounts, leave that shit to those people, man. You can't change shit from where you sit. You ain't changing shit from where you sit. The only thing you could change is yourself. And you don't even do that. So I don't know, Jay. So give them a good belt lashing, man.
Man, so first and foremost, a real good measuring rod, so to speak, for does what you're saying or talking about matter is it making any sort of difference, is if you take away all of the things that you're talking about, or all of the other people and events that you're talking about, would anyone listen to what it is that you were saying at all? And for 99.9999% of you, the answer is abso-fucking-lutely not. Nobody gives a shit what it is that you have to say about stuff in general, which means no one gives a shit what it is that you have to say about the current events, period. It does not matter. Now, again, you could say whatever it is that you like, but the only reason that anybody knows who we are is because we say stuff. You do it through music. I say shit in videos and whatnot. So people care about your opinions. People care about my opinions. And we don't talk about anybody but our fucking thoughts and shit.
Yep.
You can't do that, which means that what you have to say doesn't mean a motherfucking thing. Now, you can do that if you take the time to become the best version of yourself. And somewhere along this journey, you will realize that we are absolutely correct and you do not fucking matter, and that is your own personal choice. If you actually truly cared about these things, if you really wanted to play a part in getting suburban white women to stop calling little black kids racial names, or you really wanted to affect some sort sort of change in Target, or you really wanted to be able to affect some sort of justice in Diddy's case, then you would make yourself into the best version of you. You would make yourself into a person who could actually do it. But until you are doing that, you don't care about any of these issues. All of this shit is performative. All of this shit is to make you feel like you are a part of the conversation, as they used to say on Twitter. But that is simply to placate stupid people who do not understand that their voice doesn't mean anything if they don't mean anything. And most people, however it is that people would like to spin it and go with all of this other stuff, we're all equal in God's eyes. We all matter. No, we don't. No, everyone does not matter. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. Everyone is not equal. Everyone does not matter. The vast majority of people could be replaced instantly with whole other people, and it wouldn't make a single fucking difference in the world. And most likely, if you were sitting there tweeting about how you could beat up a gorilla, or if you were tweeting about GoFundMe's, if you were tweeting about Diddy's baby oil, you are one of those people. You could be replaced with a random skin suit of a person, and it wouldn't make a fucking bit of a difference in the world. But again, you can change that. Go to the gym, read some books, work to making some money, inspire the people around you to do better things by doing better things yourself. But what's the saying? They say, be the change you want to see. That sounds corny, it sounds stupid, but it's a real thing. Also, just a quick tieback thing. I also think that there is a reason that if you look at all of the programs that they have to try and get kids to not join gangs or not do drugs or things like that are corny for a reason. Because who the fuck doesn't understand that a bunch of teenagers don't want to see some old white fat man talking about don't smoke weed and whatnot? Who doesn't understand that that you need a certain type of messenger to convey this message? I think they understand it perfectly well and do the opposite intentionally, because they're not trying to talk you out of anything. This is how they make reading, or people think reading is lame. This is how they make people think that learning is stupid. This is how they make people think that drugs are cool, by trying to make certain things seem lame and trying to make certain things seem cool and failing at them intentionally. But that is a quick aside there. As a whole, if you are not working to become the best version of yourself, you are wasting the fuck out of your life, period. And that is ungrateful. It is ungrateful to your parents. It is ungrateful to the universe. It is ungrateful to God. It is disrespectful to your children. It is disrespectful to the women that you try to talk to. It is disrespectful to every single person that you associate with in the world, because some of them gave you life and you were squandering it, and some of them are dealing with your presence, and your presence is shitty to deal with because you are fat and depressed and worthless, and who the fuck wants to be around that? If you are raising children and you are not in shape and you are not making money and you are not intelligent, then you are absolutely failing those kids. You are just going to contribute a bunch of nothing nonsense into the world, and it is going to propagate this same system that all of you claim to be against but participate in so happily, like fucking idiots, because you don't know any better.
Thank you, Jay.
Gunshots,
man. Gunshots. Hopefully these gunshots kill off this certain mentality these people have adopted, but probably not. Probably not. They got
some people are very, very heavily ingrained in their bitch assery.
Yeah, they got bulletproof vests on their fucking ignorance. Can't pierce that armor, huh, Jay? Can't be done. It just can't be done.
Teflon.
But guess what?
Dumb motherfuckers, man.
We're gonna keep shooting. We're gonna
keep
shooting. We just
vest won't hold up forever.
Nah. We gotta just pull out the bigger guns, man. It's escalating. It's escalating. I'll say that. These I would say last 5 to 6 shows is starting to formulate what our message best and what we're trying to
be fucking better.
Be better, man. Be better. If you want things better, you got to be better. And I never named the episode, so I'll just name it right now. And it's
facts.
It's gonna be corny. I couldn't, because we was deep into thought, and let's call this Change Matters.
Change does matter.
It does matter. That's fucking cliche. Well, but why shouldn't be cliche and it shouldn't be corny, man? Because change matters. If you change yourself, you change everything, right?
See, here's another thing though. People go with all of these sayings, all of this wisdom, and they call them cliches to act like they don't mean anything because they're cliches. They paint these things as corny. Like if someone says you have to believe in yourself, people act like that's corny,
Mm,
but it's true. If they be the change you want to see, they act like that's corny, but it's true. And again, going back to the Dare program and all of this other shit, I feel like they paint these things as
hmm
corny, as lame, specifically to steer people away from them. And they say, "Well, I just tell you all these old cliches. You got to work harder." You do, motherfucker.
It's crazy if you think about it. Almost every cliche is fucking right. If you think about it, work harder, work.
These are cliches for a reason. A
Crime don't
bird in
pay.
the hand is better than two in the
Right,
bush.
like all every
These are
every cliche is fucking true. Everyone, think of them.
they make it seem like it's nonsense, and they call it again a cliche to diminish it. It's the exact same way. I know it's a mild tangent here. We're wrapping up, but in the same way that they call people on the internet, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok with large amounts of followers influencers. It's been like a thing that's been diminished, right? As opposed to a
Mm,
person that has some
ah,
degree of power and sway in this world, but they want to sit there
ah,
and act like it's nothing. But you think about someone today who has 6 million followers
a
has a
big deal.
larger audience than any of the kings did back in Roman times,
Yeah,
back than Genghis Khan did, than fucking Jesus did. More people know who certain people are than knew who again Jesus was, who everyone knows who he is nowadays. So they try and diminish these things to make it seem like you don't have any real power because you're just an influencer, you're just someone talking
mm,
online. And they they even try to separate the thing from celebrities, right? Like there are people on with Instagram accounts who are not like traditional celebrities with 100 million followers. How are they not a real celebrity?
yeah, they did the pure definition of celebrity. The pure definition of it. They don't have any. It's not. It's being a celebrity is not talent. It is not exclusive to having talent, right?
It's not exclusive to if you're well known, you're well known,
You're a
period.
fucking
Like that's what it
celebrity.
is.
Yeah, you're so.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's an interesting point, man. Like how they diminish the word influence. I think, well, not think. I know on purpose. Um, Without influence, you can't affect anything. This kind of like what this episode was about. If your platform doesn't matter, your voice does not matter if you have no influence. So what do? You become the best fucking version of yourself to create some influence, a following. People will follow you if you are the best version of yourself, you will affect someone. And someone with influence is someone able to affect someone's life. That's influence, having influence over them.
So yeah, again, they diminish the term to make it seem to make people think that these people are nothing and to make people think that they themselves are nothing. But if you think about it, Gandhi, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King were all
Influence.
influencers.
Influences. Yeah. Oh, that's okay, Jay. We wrapping up. Don't start that shit. Cause now you on to something with that. We
We will touch back to this one, but
yeah, no, that's something right there, boy. You didn't touch right there, boy. I like that. We're gonna touch on that, man. Game within the game, man. Or
motherfuckers, we are back, gunshots back.
ask
We not
Kyoto
playing.
anything.